Hi, my name's Heather and I am a CC tutor for ages 4 through 6. And today I want to go through Cycle 1, Week 2, Tutor Planning Ideas. So if you've made it to Week 2, congratulations. I am so excited. I think the hardest part for me moving into Week 1 was taking all the ideas and preparing over the summer and actually putting it into action. I live in this world where I like to live in the world of potential, but actually putting it into reality and finalizing things can be really hard for me, but I'm so excited that we're finally in it. And I wanted to go over what we did for Week 2 and how it went for us. So for timeline, we just did community actions. I think eventually I'm going to incorporate doing the silly voices and while like hopping on one foot or something like that. But since I have really littles right now, like fresh 4-year-olds, I've just wanted to be like really intentional with doing the actions really slowly, making sure that they understand the words before we move into the silly things. And it's short enough, it holds their attention, they're fine with it. So we always do timeline first, and then we go from there, we go into English. And I have it set up this way because I want to do my dancing action things kind of up front. And then towards the end, I want to move into geography where they're sitting into their seats. And I have math right before geography because sometimes we'll do math or science, sometimes we'll do sitting activities like we did today. Today was a sitting activity. So we did community actions for 7 Wonders of the Ancient World. Going into English, we just did the preposition song. Again, I did it really slow for them. They're 4, 5-year-olds. I think we have 1 6-year-old in our class. And it's all their first time except one, which is my daughter. So she's never done the preposition song before. And for me, honestly, I have troubles with the motion sometimes. So making sure that we're doing it slowly and deliberately, I think is really helpful for them. After English, we do Latin. So Latin, we just continued what we did last week with the koosh ball, which was a big hit. I would say nominative, and then I would prompt them with subject, and then I would say genitive and prompt them to say possessive. And this week, because they had been practicing at home, they didn't need as many prompts, and I let, since it's a smaller, little kids, they can get kind of shy, if they wanted the group to help them out, the group could join in, and so we got a lot of group participation. So even if the kid didn't know the answers, the group could shout it out, and then they could repeat what the group was saying. So that went over really well. After Latin, we move into history. Last week, I think I talked about the hands and how I had written things on the 5 fingers, and it didn't really go over so well, especially with the 4-year-olds. They're kind of like hitting each other with the fingers. Obviously, they can't read, so that was probably a better one for the older kids. But this week, we just broke out the egg shakers, and I had them shake, and they really enjoyed that, so that went over well. After history, we did science. Now this one, I think went over really well. I had these little squares from Target that had, I got it in the Target dollar spot for $3, and they have these pouches that you can put the grammar in, and then kids can stomp on them. So I had Animalia, Plantae, Fungi, Protista, Archaea, Bacteria, all lined up so they could jump. And then I had actions for each one, and I set it to the tune of head, shoulders, knees, and toes. So what we did for Animalia, we did this, because I wanted to do something up on the head since we're mirroring head, shoulders, knees, and toes, which is kind of like caterpillar and antennae. So we had Animalia. Plantae, I just did this like a plant coming out of the ground. fungi. We squatted really low and made a shape like this for a mushroom. So mushrooms are low to the ground, so we squatted low and we made that like a mushroom. For Protista, we kind of did this amoeba-like shape. For Archaea, I did this because I've seen that Archaeas are like rod shaped, so we made a rod with our hands. And then bacteria, I just had them like pretend like they were washing their hands. So we did that while jumping from square to square, and that was a really big hit. They really enjoyed that one. After science, we did math. This was another big hit. It was in their seats, and I got these off of Teachers Pay Teachers for $3, and it's for the whole skip counting 1 through 15 squares and cubes, and we do-a-dotted as we were singing our song. And so I was up front with my little tabletop easel, and I was showing them as I was doing it, and I could hear them rhythmically dotting the paper. So they really enjoyed this a lot, and I thought this would be an easy one to replicate at home, because that's the hardest thing for me. Is I have a lot of ideas, but I'm learning. I've only got 5 minutes to do things, and sometimes some of the ideas that I have, because I like to integrate a lot of sensory play and things like that, that doesn't fit well into the 5-minute time frame that I have to get through the grammar. But this was fast, it was engaging, and hopefully it's something that they can do at home. Geography, this is another one that's been hard for me to get through in 5 minutes, and I'm sure as we go along we'll find a rhythm. But we continued to sing our song that's on CC Connected. It's by Nate Green, and it's Geography, Cycle 1, weeks 1 through 12, and it breaks it down week by week, but it's all one song, kind of like the preposition song. So we sang that song, and I pointed to the different locations, and I had the kids put little animal erasers on each of the locations. And then towards the end, I had the maps were in sleeves, and I had the locations traced in different colors with wet erase markers for the older kids. So they just traced over the locations. I had corresponding colors, so they could do red for Red Sea. I think it was blue for Persian Gulf, green for Caspian Sea, black for Black Sea, and then I had like a purple dot for Babylon. And they had all those colors that I got at like Dollar Tree in their little box, so they could kind of color coordinate and see each one, especially Red Sea and Black Sea I thought was good. And then I had the outline of Africa dotted out for the younger kids because they were having a hard time tracing, and I had them trace with their finger. Geography's hard to get through in 5 minutes, but I know we're gonna find a rhythm with that. For fine arts, we had mirror images this week, and so this is what our director gave us, and this side was like a dot to dot, and for the younger kids, like the 4-year-olds, I read this on one of the comments on the tutor page, and they said they outlined it in gray crayon, and I did the same thing, and I'm really glad that I did, because for our 4-year-olds, this would have been too hard for them to do the dots to dots on their own. I had a 4-year-old, even with the lines, he was still struggling with it. But the older kids, there were dots to guide, and we used oils to describe, okay, what kind of line is this? And we went through each line, and when we were talking about curved, is it curving out? Is it curving in? And after each line, I would go check their work and make sure that and I had the parent, I was kind of at one table, and my helper parent was at the other table, making sure the kids were getting it. And then towards the end, 2 curved lines at the bottom, and then we showed them some Greek patterns that they could incorporate into their vase. So this went pretty well overall. I think this went about as well as it could have. So we go through grammar, and then we go through science, and then we go through presentation and fine arts. And the reason I did that was because those of you who have been through CC before know when we get to quarter 3, great artist, it seems like art just always bleeds into review time when you get to quarter 3. So I just wanted it set up that way. So when we were doing science, like we would have our new grammar, we'd have science, we would wash our hands, do bathroom break, do get our snacks. So we'd have clean hands for snack time, do presentations, go into art, and then go into review time. So I'm doing it kind of backwards because I'm going off my tutor planner, but we do science before art. For science, again, we're off of everybody else because we live in the Midwest, so we decided to bump weeks 7 and 8 up to week 1 and 2. So we did our nature walk because late October, early November for us can be a little iffy weather-wise. We had perfect weather. The kids saw frogs, so they wanted to go back to the animal nature walk. So we had a little bit of redirecting going on there. But overall, the science experiment went pretty well. And then for review time, I played off of another tutor's idea. They talked about sticker the tutor. And instead of sticker the tutor, I knew I wanted to do it earlier in the year on a nice day, since it was a nice day and it was earlier in the year and I knew I'd have more review time to work with, not more review time, but less content to go through, I decided, okay, we're gonna do splash the tutor. So I took them outside, we had these basins full of water, and I had these squirters and those water balls, and like there was like a slingshot that you could put the water balls into. And when the kids answered the review question as a group, they all got to attack me with like little squirters and squirt guns and water balls, and that went really well. And I really wanted to do that earlier in the year rather than later than the year, because I think it's important right off the bat. Like, I really want to establish a connection with the kids and just establish a rapport with them. And when I can somehow enter that play and enter that fun with them, I think that just makes it more conducive for them to learn from me in the future. So that went over really well. Some ideas that I'm kind of playing with right now. I think I posted this on the tutor page. And I don't know if I'll do this in class, but it's something at home that we've been doing. I think I got this pocket chart, maybe from Target or Dollar Tree. I forget. It was either in the Target Dollar Spot or Dollar Tree. Is pocket chart skip counting. And so I've got this pocket chart here. And then I got this, like, these came in like a 20 or 30 pack for $1 at Target, and they can 3, 6, 9. They can do their skip counting a song, and then as they're doing it, scan over it. And what I really like about this is I can also cut this transparency, or I can cut construction paper down to the same size as this transparency, fill it in, and then since this is already laminated, I can just have the kids write over this with dry erase marker. See, this is where I think this is something that maybe it would be a little faster with older kids. Maybe older kids could do this a little more quickly. But for younger kids, like, this is something I can work with my daughter at home. I can fill it in. She can practice writing her numbers, seeing the numbers, creating that visual connection with what we're singing. So this is something that we're doing at home for now. I don't know if I'll bring this into the classroom. Again, those 5 minutes can be a little tricky to make sure things are moving along. So I hope you found this video helpful today. I've enjoyed coming up with ideas to keep kids engaged in the classical model of education. And I have plans to do future videos regarding what is classical education, skip counting ideas, and making other content that will help support classical homeschool families. So I appreciate you sticking with me and tuning in, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.